right, let's get into this weekend's action. A lot of big games. Let's start Rams and Cardinals. Little, division battle. These teams have to play twice over these last few weeks here. And so the Rams all year, you've had trouble, I think, figuring out what to make of them.
I've given up. So it's down to you now. I'm done. What do you got?
It seemed like a corner was turned, right, until Jared Goff's performance last week that Sean McVay called out and all that stuff. I mean, it seemed like, okay, Goff had a couple of rough games. They had the bye. He comes out smoking against the Seahawks and the Bucs. The defense has been outstanding. We talk every week about, hey, it's tough to play defense here in 2020. The Rams are figuring it out and just making life difficult on every offense. So it seems like they had turned a corner, and then Goff was absolutely horrible, turning the ball over like crazy against the Niners last week. So I think they're the team that – are they the only defense that you – is it them and the Steelers? Are they the only defenses you can somewhat trust on a weekly basis right now?
I think you can trust them to be good, but the problem is a good defense in 2020 still isn't good enough. Like, you can't win with the defense on its own playing at a good level every week. You still need the offense to show up, and when it doesn't, they don't win. That's the problem. Like, when Goff has a bad game, they don't show up, they don't win. They need him to at least hold up his end of the bargain for the defense to be good enough for it to make a difference. Like, the 49ers game is a perfect example, right? The 49ers were a good offense in terms of matching up, negating the good things you do on defense. But, like, their defense did a decent job. It's just that Jared Goff had a nightmare, and so the defense, it didn't matter. It wasn't enough. Like, the days of your defense holding a team to like 6 points, under 10 on a vaguely consistent basis, and that every single game you're going to be in it because of your defense. Certainly in 2020, that's just not going to happen. Even the best defenses in the NFL, your offense needs to be viable. It needs to put up some number of points. Otherwise, you're going to get overwhelmed. And I think that's what the Rams are right now. Their defense is really good. In any normal year, it would be good enough to keep them in games. But unless Goff fires, unless that offense functions, it won't.
One thing I've been meaning to study, and Leonard Floyd has prompted this. Leonard Floyd has 32 pressures this year. He has been so incredibly consistent throughout his career. You go to PFF Elite Premium Stats 2.0. You search Leonard Floyd, go to his player page, and check out his pressures every single year. It's awesome. 36, 36, 39, 39. Those are his pressures year by year. This year he's at 32, so we've got 5 games left, and he's going to surpass his career high, right? You're right, by the way. He's going to surpass his career high. Dante Fowler had all those sacks last year. I want to figure out the Aaron Donald factor for these mediocre edges who kind of have career years from a pressure or from a sack standpoint. He's also going to set a career high in sacks. But that's a big part of this Rams defense again. Do we talk about Aaron Donald a lot? Yes, but he is a big part, obviously, of everything they do because they want to rush with 3 and 4 guys. And his ability to win and create for the Leonard Floyds of the world off the edge is just a huge factor given the array of coverages the Rams are playing on the back end.
Yeah, I think that coverage unit will be good enough to slow down Kyler Murray and cause him some problems, which is not a new thing. Like, he's struggled with a few different defenses this year. Whether he can make it up with what he does on the ground is an open question. I think that's the thing that the Rams need to concentrate on. And then the other side, I think, is the interesting side of the ball to me in this game is, can Jared Goff and that Rams offense bounce back? Will they be slowed down by what the Cardinals do on defense, which is, pretty effective against certain opposition, certain different types of offense? That, I think, is the side of the ball to watch.
The dreaded zero blitz that Arizona has done a really good job. They've been employing both defenses are actually fascinating. The Cardinals have done a lot of just zero defensive lineman looks. We talk about how the Seahawks have kind of built their defense around Jamal Adams. I'm not saying the Cardinals are building around Isaiah Simmons, but they're kind of doing things where you're like, hey, if you have an Isaiah Simmons on your defense for what that skill set is, you're gonna do that. Like, have a bunch of linebackers, have a bunch of hybrid players. And Simmons has started to play better in recent weeks, so that's going to be interesting as well. All these linebackers up and around the line of scrimmage, and they've teased, they've showed and dropped out, and done all of this stuff with the zero blitz look that has given Jared Goff massive problems and made him look like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league when it's run. So I think the cat and mouse game defensively with Arizona out there what the Rams do defensively. My big question for Arizona and Kyler, is his shoulder still banged up? Are they still going to try to protect him a little bit as a runner? Because they need all of that, I think, for this offense. But they also throw so many screens and so much underneath stuff. That's the stuff that the Rams give you. But for the Cardinals to maximize things offensively, they need a couple deep shots. So,
we saw San Francisco were able to attack this defense with run after the catch monsters. Debo, Brandon Ayuk when he's healthy. This is what that offense is built around. It's not beating you deep down the field. It's working with yards after the catch. The Cardinals don't have the same weapons after the catch. Like Nuke Hopkins is good after the catch, but it's not really his specialty. Larry, not really. They just don't have the yards. They don't have a Debo Samuel or a Brandon Ayuk that's going to attack that in the same way, which should help the Rams defense.
DeAndre Hopkins versus Jalen Ramsey. That is awesome too.
Yeah.
I remember a couple years ago, I think it was Evan Silva, not to call Evan out, but the Rams trade for Jalen Ramsey may not have been the best trade because they didn't get the contract in place and all that stuff. But I think Evan at the time was saying, why would you get a Jalen Ramsey when your division's biggest weapon is a George Kittle at the time, tight end? Now we have twice a year we see Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey and DeAndre Hopkins. Again, I think the point is, hey, go get yourself a really good corner and don't have to worry about matchups in your division that much.
And those two specifically, you need a Jalen Ramsey. Like it wouldn't, as distinct from a Tre'Davious White or insert other decent number one corner. You actually need the physical ability that Ramsey has to go one-on-one with those guys, because your alternative is Darius Williams and Troy Hill, who are both undersized, smaller, good cover corners, but are giving up 50 plus pounds to DK Metcalf. Like the thing we talked about, not only is Jalen Ramsey capable of going one-on-one with those guys, but he now is the reason that their secondary is so good, because Troy Hill and Darius Williams don't need to. Like those two guys are playing incredibly well, freed from the responsibility of ever having to match up with DK Metcalf or DeAndre Hopkins. Like it can't be overstated how important that is in terms of what Jalen Ramsey brings to this defense.
So Vegas has the Rams favored by 3. On the road, again, home road, how much does it matter here in 2020? But I feel like that number is really driven by Kyler. Questionable, limited on Wednesday in practice, but I really think it's driven by that shoulder injury. I think if he's healthy, this game's a lot closer to even. So that's going to be a huge factor in this game, just coming down to Kyler's health and which Jared Goff you get. Where you leaning in this one?
I don't know. I'm going to lean with the Cardinals winning it, but I agree with you that the number I think that if Kyler Murray is healthy and can at least function, they are better than certainly that number, and I think possibly better and good enough to win it outright.
Oh, man, I want to lean Arizona too. The Rams are tough to figure. The NFC East leading Rams are really tough to figure out here. I'm going to lean Arizona in this one, though, and making a bit of an assumption that Kyler's going to be back to form, and he's got to run 8 to 10 times a game, I think, to maximize that offense. And if he does that, they've got a much better shot here.
Yeah, I've given up trying to work out the NFC West, so it's a good thing they're all of the best games this week.
Yeah, I know, right?
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.